Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? How's it going? Happy Monday. Welcome back to our live stream here on Twitch. I'm your humble host, Fan Freak, aka Moistmaster Flex. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys had a good Monday. I sure did. I was out in Denver this weekend, played a show with Rhiannon Rose at Tattoons, a little warehouse party where they also give tattoos. Very cool concept, for sure. Um, yeah, it was a good time though. Definitely love Denver. Denver's a really cool city. Um, yeah, and then today was a good day too. We kind of just like got back into the swing of things. No, I didn't. Um, see, if you don't know me, I'm quite tatted up. Um, but I'm very much so of the mindset of being very intentional with my tattoos. So all of my tattoos are very well thought through, and I know exactly what I want, where I want it. Um, and they were just doing flash tattoos. Like no, no disrespect or anything to people who get flash tattoos or people who kind of just, throw caution to the wind and just do whatever they want, with tattoos. But I'm very much so a very intentional person with my tattoos. That's just what I do. Um, change your mind, okay? I had a feeling you were gonna change your mind. You know that? I had a feeling. I'll put your tune in the queue. But anyways, let's go through our let's go through our spiel here. Um, these are our tunes that recently came out. Um, we got Fresh Cut Freaks. Um, that was out, I believe, in April. We got Tommy Gun from the homie Phantasm out in May. We got Searching from myself, and yeah, man. Yeah, I'm very much so intentional with a lot of things. It's kind of how I just live my life. We got Searching for myself and Nightblock and Dread MC on Prime Audio. We got Pop Rocks for myself and Rhiannon Rose on 3000 Bass. We got Thick Freak Friends on my label Thick Freakness. That's our anniversary compilation. We got Loving You. I don't know if I put the. Oh, I guess I didn't put the download link there. Well, that's my bad. But yeah, that's up for free download now on SoundCloud on 3000 Deep SoundCloud, or you can just go to my SoundCloud too. Um, it's a nice little free download, garage tune, definitely summer vibes. And then our most recent release, Tombs Yap, that just came out on Friday. Nice little bass house banger. Yeah, Thick Freakness is that the name actually comes from. If you guys are fans of, if you guys are fans of the Black Keys, they have an album called Thick Freakness, which is I basically just took their name word for word and just spelled it differently, you know? That's exactly what I did. Because I'm a big fan of the Black Keys. And it kind of goes in line with, my DJ name, my artist name, my artist project. Anyways, our shows here. We got our Label V Label showcase in Vegas this Friday. Thick Freakness and Storytime at We All Scream in Las Vegas. If you guys are in Vegas, come through. And I actually have another show. I'm trying to think. Yeah, and then the next show after that will be in Santa Fe on July the 12th. And then the weekend after that, we have our next after hours for Thick Freakness in downtown LA which will also be a free show. So if you guys are in Vegas or New Mexico or LA, come through to these shows. We'd love to see you there. Lastly, our sponsor, Eargasm. If you guys need earplugs, definitely go grab some. Definitely highly recommend using earplugs for shows so you don't lose your hearing. I will say hi to Alec for you. For sure. Hell yeah. Yeah, go get some earplugs. If you guys need earplugs, use code Phantom10 at eargasm.com. Beep boop boop. All right. So yeah, you guys, a lot of you guys are, returning to the stream here, so you guys kind of know the deal. For those of you who don't, I take these in the order I received them on the Google form. If you guys need to submit tunes still, here's the link in the chat. Go ahead and submit there. Preferably private SoundCloud. Dropbox is also acceptable. I just do not like Google Drive. Google Drive sucks. I have no problem saying that either. Google Drive just sucks. And I take these in the order I received them on the Google form. First come, first serve. If I call your name and you're not here, I will put you to the back of the line. If you just so happen to pop in, I'll put you back in the queue. You have to be here present in the chat to get your music reviewed. And if you want to skip the line, you're more than welcome to. You can either use your channel points or send monies to the bottom left over there. I'm going to go through the queue right now so you guys know where you're at in the line. And then we'll get started. We got Curse of Tongues first. We got Nilla second. Degen third. Leonard Ellis fourth. We got Pretty High Bagsy number 5. We got Eric Mark number 6. Longboy number 7. Blaze Orange number 8. Neb number 9. And Crossfades number 10. Let's see, did we get any other submissions before I start here? Okay, no new submissions yet, but I'm sure more people will throw some tunes in. All right, let's get it started. Actually, wait, Curse of Tongues. Is Curse of Tongues here? First and foremost. Curse of Tongues. Curse of Tongues. Curse of Tongues going once. Going twice. Curse of Youngs. Oh, man. All right. Do we got Nilla? Nyla? Nilla? Like Nilla wafers? 1 year ago. Oh, this looks like it's already released, so I cannot review this one. But Nilla, if you have another tune that's unreleased, you're more than welcome to resubmit into the Google form. But yes, we are only doing private unreleased music here. All right, so we got first up Degen. Degen, are you here? Degen. Degenerate. Yo, Degen's here. Like, let's do it.
I can't remember pretend I was never famous. These feelings will end. You're famous and famous. This can't last forever.
Nice. Really, really digging the vibes here. Some nice future bass. Don't get a whole lot of future bass here in the stream, surprisingly. But yeah, very well done. Really digging the vibes here. Very airy, very floaty. And the drops are very fat. Loving the intro melody. Pretty much all the melodies you got going on here work very well. Especially considering the vocal you have. Everything kind of is swimming around the vocal, which is great. Trying to add some spice to the melodic stuff I make. Nice. I mean, if this is like your first venture into future bass, it's really well done, honestly. And I like the drum pattern change. You know, not only like in the break section, you basically just threw in a break beat, which is like my bread and butter. I tend to put a lot of breaks in my break section, meta breaks, and then you switch to like almost kind of like a drum and bass type pattern on the second drop, which is really nice. Really digging the variations here. The vocal is very nice. I think the vocal processing is also very well done, with the exception that it does feel kind of dry. I think I definitely hear some reverb in there, but it's almost like this mix down is too clean. So it's like it's kind of just kind of dry. What I would want to hear is probably more reverb, both on the vocal as well as those saws. Those saws definitely feel like they need a little bit of space added to them, kind of make them kind of bigger. Because right now they're big, but they're not big enough. I think they could definitely be bigger, and I think the easiest way to do that is throw some reverb on them, so they feel more spacey and like, bah. But I put here that the vocal is nice, but it's quite dry and very front and center. Very front and center is actually not an issue. Especially because it's like the main it's the main driver of the track, so you kind of want to have it front and center, but it's a little bit too much, again, I think that's just the dryness of it. I think once you add a little bit more depth with some reverb delays, I think that'll kind of help it out. I do love the vocal processing and the chopping. The vocal chopping is very well done, with the vocoding and the chopping and the things. It sounds really great, both in the break section as well as in the drop. I think it's very well done. Nice energy all around, going from build into drop into break into second build into second drop. I think overall the arrangement's super solid. It's really easy to follow. The drop itself is really dope. Really nice phrasing, and the motifs are very nice. Very nice variations. I think the sound selection is very well done, as well as the sound design. Again, I think your saws could definitely use some more reverb. I think that'll make them bigger. Sick break and break beats. Really love the break beats. The snare is very nice here. It's exactly what you want to hear from this style of music. It cuts through the mix. It's kind of like big, very front and center. It's definitely what you want from this style of song. Really, I think the only thing is just adding in some more reverb onto the vocal, as well as reverb onto those saws, to kind of give them a little bit more space and depth, and kind of just make them a little bit bigger. Because like future bass is a lot about size as well as like space, because it has like kind of like a baps pattern, Hell yeah, good job. Thanks for the subscription, brother. Nebula Beasts. But yeah, Degen, very well done. Yeah, definitely finish this. I think it's especially if this is one of your first future bass tracks, I think it's very well done. Good job, Degen. Hell yeah. All right. Up next, we got the man's Leonard Ellis. Pretty sure Leonard is here. I just saw him a minute ago. Here we go. Let's do it. Nice one, dude. I'm loving the horns here. It's very horny for sure. And the melody is very nice too. Overall, solid groove. Sounds like a very, very quintessential, unique Leonard Ellis tune. You know, very nice drums, very nice drum fills, and very solid groove. Uh, Definitely bravo. Um, bow, 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 bow. Yeah, and Blaze Orange says got a bit repetitive for my taste. I do agree to a sense. I like that. You know, there are some variations with that horn, especially on this second drop. So I would definitely agree with that. Maybe work on a little bit more variation. Try to use them a little bit more sparingly in some sections, just so that they don't get like worn out. But yeah, let me get to that. Let me get through the rest of my notes here. Very thick kick, very nice drum selection, really nice drum fills, very solid groove, especially in that low end with that sub kick relationship is very nice, very solid groove. I wasn't expecting the horns at all, but it was really dope when they come in and they kind of hang around, especially in the break section. Um, Really nice melody from those horns. Really solid drop in arrangement. Again, I do agree with Blaze Orange. You might be able to get away with using them a little bit more sparingly in some sections. You could probably use a full 8-bar section of just horns, and I think that would be fine. But I think after like going a full 8 bars, you need to kind of have a little bit of variation. I would even recommend doing a little bit of call response with those horns and the vocal you have in there. You did a little bit of it, but then you kind of reverted back to just sticking to straight horns. So maybe that's an idea. Maybe you can do a little call response between that vocal and the horns just to kind of like shake things up every once in a while. So like something like that, where you do a little bit of horn and then you bring in the vocal, but like maybe keep that carried through for a whole 8-bar section or 16-bar section or what have you, just so that there's a little bit of breakup in that horn pattern, you know. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to mess around with that, or even do some automation. You could even do some filter automation, reverb automation, just a little something to kind of break up the repetition just a little bit. What's up, DeMerlo? Hell yeah, brother. Overall, yeah, this is a really dope tune though. Yeah, I think really just kind of mess around with maybe some call response and maybe some more automation on those horns, and I think this is gonna be even better tune. But already, like, it's sounding really fucking great. I think the mix down is very clean too. Yeah, really all you need is some minor variations, and I think this is gonna be even better tune. Good job, Leonard Ellis. Hell yeah, brother. Let's keep it moving here. My friend. Oh, we got My Friend remix. Okay. What's up, Long Boy? You're just in time. Or actually, I think your tune is coming up in 2 tracks. We got Pretty High and Bagsy, or Pretty High and Bagsy here. Then we got Eric Mark, and we got Long Boy, Blaze Orange, Neb, Crossfades, Curse of Tongues. Do we got Pretty High and Bagsy? Not just a little high, not very high, just pretty high, you know? Somewhat high. Sorry, just getting some more submissions in here. Pretty high is, oh, that's, okay, so Pretty High is you. Chris Michael. Ba, 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 ba. Perfect time for me to creep in here. Indeed. Just in time to catch a remix. All right. Let's listen to this tune here. Let's go.
I wanna be your friend, 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 be your friend. I wanna be your friend, be your friend, be your friend, be your friend, be your friend. I wanna be your friend, 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 be your friend. I wanna be your friend. Do you wanna be mine too? I work on command. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to say. I work on command. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to say. I work on command. Just tell me what to do. What to do. What to do. What to do. I wanna be your. 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 I wanna be your friend. Do you wanna be mine too? I work on command. Just tell me what to do. I wanna be your friend. Let's go play all day. I work on command. Just tell me what to say. I wanna be your. 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 I wanna be your friend. We could have some fun. All you have to do is turn me on. Just tell me what to say. I work on command. Just tell me what to do. I work on command. I work on command. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to say. I work on command. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to say. I work on command. Just tell me what to do. What to do. What to do. What to do. I wanna be your. 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 I wanna be your friend. Do you wanna be mine too? I work on command. Just.
Okay, sorry. I had to go back and listen to a little bit more. Yeah, dude, this is fucking dope. I'm loving the idea so far. I think there's definitely some holes that need to be filled here, but I think foundationally, I think the idea is very strong. Yeah. When's the competition supposed to be done? I think it's like the 30th, right? June 30th. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he definitely has plenty of time. Maybe a few percussion tweaks. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Blaze Orange. I think, especially in the second drop. Oh, Chris Michael got an ad. Let me know when it's done. Chris Michael. Young Andrew Lux finally made it to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You just missed a Rhiannon Rose remix right now. But we will do plenty more tunes coming up next. We got some drum and bass and whatnot coming up. All right, Chris Michael's back. Okay, as I was saying, I do agree with Blaze Orange. I think we could definitely use some percussion tweaks. I think that, especially in the second drop, the kick pattern kind of gets a little bit wonky here and there. Um, I forget exactly the timestamp, but there's this point where like the kick pattern kind of gets very kind of robotic, kind of just feels like it's just like very straight on the grid. Kind of use a little bit more swing and kind of like a human feel to it, you know. Um, but yeah, I think that that's not a bad idea to kind of apply that through the entirety of the track, kind of give a little bit more swing, especially for this style of music. You definitely want to have a little bit more humanistic kind of swing to it. So play around with that definitely. Um, I think I really dig the kind of the idea overall. I love the drum sound selection. I love the sound design. I love the ear candy. A lot of really cool ear candy. Really cool like vocals you got going on. Besides obviously Rhiannon Rose's vocal, you have a lot of like other background vocals that are kind of playing really well in your melodic idea as well as your like motifs that you're kind of putting together here. Lots of really nice variations here. Um, for me, I think I love the sub, but it does sound a little bit boomy and muddy. So that might just be the sound that you picked particularly for the sub. Because I know that especially when you work with subs in a VST, if you go too far low in the register, it starts to sound a little bit boomy and muddy. Um, so that might just be a matter of just like swapping out the sub sound for just something a little bit more substantial and something that's gonna kind of fit within this register. Um, so that's just something to consider and think about. It was more apparent in the break sections than it was in the drop because I think there's a lot more stuff to focus on in the drop than there is in the break sections. In the break sections, it's kind of more noticeable because there's not a whole lot else going on.
I wanna be.
And that might just be some extra distortion that you have on there, or even some, you know, multi-band dynamics or OTT or something like that. There might just be a little bit too much compression on that specific subsample or that subline that you got going on there. But that's just something to consider and think about. Try and get rid of some of that mud. I do love the actual melody that it's playing. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it has a really nice kind of swing to it. So I really do dig that. Very nice energy overall. Very solid arrangement here. I honestly wouldn't change anything about this arrangement. Really nice sound design and ear candy. Very solid kick and snare. The snare is definitely sick. I agree with Eric here. I like this melody that you're playing in the second break, but I think it needs a little bit of something. It sounds a little bit too dry and thin for me. Not to mention that most of this break does sound a little bit empty, so I think we kind of need to fill some of that space there.
I wanna be your, 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 I wanna be your friend. Do you wanna be mine too? I work on command. Just tell me what.
You can play around with some, you know, pads or something, or maybe even an arpeggio potentially. But also maybe some more additional processing on that main melody there, because it's cool sounding. I do like the melody. Tension strings could work. I'm a big fan of strings, especially in my break sections. Very big fan of strings. Yeah, you can play around with that. Strings, pads, just something to kind of add to the overall tonality and background there. A little bit more drama to that break section. But yeah, fundamentally there is a lot of space in this second break, so I think it wouldn't hurt to have, you know, some other sort of element to add to the drama and everything. Delay effects for sure. Definitely, you could put in some delay effects. There's definitely enough space for it, for sure. And then yeah, I love the change up in the second drop. I think fundamentally the drops are really dope. Just yeah, again, be mindful of the kick pattern. try not to get it, make sure to not get it so robotic and kind of give it a more humanistic feel in some areas. Tension strings, yeah, that's definitely some more some more break and build elements in the break sections. But fundamentally, it's a very strong idea. I definitely dig it. It's a really cool remix. I myself have a remix of this tune coming out as well, so you guys will hear that in due time. In due time. All right. Well done, Chris Michael, aka Pretty High. I suppose I'll see you in New Mexico in a few weeks. Yeah, no problem. Okay, Eric says, feel free to fast forward through my track. It's a long one. I intend to cut it down a lot. Okay. I hear you. We'll just like skip ahead some of this intro, and then we'll kind of go through the rest of it normally. Nice one, bruv. Yeah, digging the liquid DMB vibes here. It sounds like the chat really loved it too. Dude, it's silly that you almost didn't even want to send this in. You're like, nah, I don't listen to my track. JK, listen to my track. Because this is fucking fire. Very cool track. Very unique liquid. Do 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 do. The brakes are empty. Honestly, I don't think that it needs much. I don't think the arrangement is actually that repetitive. To me, I mean, you probably could just shorten the intro a little bit more. That's probably the only thing I would change about the arrangement. I mean, the fact that I had to skip through the first minute of the intro, I think that was probably the only thing that I would change about the arrangement. Everything else here, there's definitely enough variation to keep it carried through and interesting, both in the first drop as well as in the second drop. I like that the second drop is definitely different from the first drop too. And then the first drop has like two subsections in it. There's like a more breakbeaty kind of back end, and then the front end is more like just like very on the nose kind of liquid drum and bass, which is very nice. So I don't think fundamentally anything needs to change with the arrangement except for shortening the intro. But I do have one note that I think will probably help kind of add in or make it kind of feel like there's less repetition, quote unquote, because I don't think there's a whole lot of repetition. But I'm gonna go through all the notes. Love the sub. The sub is fucking fantastic. It's very bouncy. Kind of almost immediately start with it in the break section, and then it kind of carries on through the second break. It's very bouncy. Love it. Sounds very nice. Sick breakbeat. I love the stabs. I love all the sound design and the sound selection. Everything works together really well. Digging the vocal. The vocal could use a little bit more reverb to it. I think you kind of already predicted I was going to say that. I love the lead-in onto the drop. You kind of have like a filter lead-in for those drums, which is very nice. I think it works very well. Loving the Reese lead on the drop, as well as a lot of the filter automation that you kind of got going on there. It adds a lot of character, and it kind of keeps, again, it breaks up the repetition. It kind of keeps things going, keeps things moving forward. Lots of really nice momentum on that. Also digging the secondary melody. It's kind of like a little stab you got going on in the background. It's very simple. Boop, 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 boop. But it also does feel like it's kind of in the back. So I think that kind of needs to come up in the mix. Come up in the mix and kind of poke through a little bit more. So maybe just add some saturation on it, just so that it's a little bit. It's actually okay that it's a background element, but I just think it needs to be a little bit more present. Yeah. But that does help kind of break up the repetition, I think. Something as simple as that, honestly. I do think that there's plenty of variation here. That's what I put here. Yeah, especially in this first drop, just to begin with. Like, there's a whole A section and B section, which is very nice. And there's like some stuff in between that kind of helps break up the repetition. I did put here though that I think the second break needs more of a build to get back into the drop, because it kind of feels like it kind of just rolls into the second drop. Yeah, so the second break, I think could probably use, I think it actually has like a lot going on in there, which is really nice, but we're not getting a kind of energetic build up into the second drop. So you need more, agreed, you need more edging. You need more edging in that second build. Very well said. Um, yeah, I think that that definitely is what the second break needs. Um, is more tension going into the second drop. Uh, and I think the second drop is really nice to begin with. But yeah, just like that transition, I think it just needs to kind of just be kind of worked out a little bit better. And then last thing, this is probably the thing that I was gonna mention. It's probably the most important thing here. There's a vocal phrase. It's a beautiful day, and I was surprised that I only heard it for the first time in the second break or the second drop. I'm surprised you didn't use that as a main hook, because there's lots of oohs and ahs going out throughout the track, which is very nice. But once I heard "It's a Beautiful Day," I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, where was that the whole track? It should have been there the whole time. But I only heard it twice. I only heard it in the second drop and then in the outro. So "It's a Beautiful Day." I think if you put that somewhere in the first break and somewhere in the first drop, I think that'll make this track even better, because definitely something to kind of get the listener to like latch onto, and very easily like it's a callback, so it's gonna be something that the listener kind of looks forward to too. Um, I think that'll ultimately that's kind of just gonna be the cherry on top. Besides those other little things that I mentioned, it's just throwing "A Beautiful Day" in there, in the first drop as well as the first break, first break build, and the second break build also. I think that'll kind of set this off. Yeah, but honestly, what you said that you feel like it got too repetitive. I don't think it got too repetitive, honestly. Yeah, she's recording vocals for me and Broshi. So yeah, keep an eye out for some new tunes. But yeah, dude, this sounds great so far. Definitely just needs some minor tweaks to it. That's really it. The mixdown sounds great. Um, yeah, just some more reverb on the vocals. Use that phrase "It's a Beautiful Day" a little bit more, and then more tension on that second build. But hell yeah, this is dope. This is a really nice vibe. Good job, young Eric. Hell yeah, brother. All right, we got Longboy up next, Blaze Orange, Neb, Crossfades, Neziel, Skynova, Furo, Uriarte, and Curse of Tongues. I don't know if Curse of Tongues is even here, but yeah, hopefully it pops up. All right, we got Longboy. Do. Young Longboy. I saw Longboy a second ago. Just want to make sure you're still here. Okay, yeah, you're here. Cool. All right. Let me go pee real quick, and then we'll get started in this tune. All right, let's do it.
The stars, when you pull me closer, I lose my mind. The stars align when you pull me closer. I lose my mind, and slowly fade away. I feel you near, but you're so far away, and I need slowly fade away. slowly fade away.
Nice one, bruv. Dude, super sick. Loving the fucking drops here. Sounds like the chat loves it too. This is such a good opening song to an EDC set. Oof, nice phrasing. Nasty. Ooh, banger. Problem that I recognize is splice vocals. Da da da. You need more vowel bass. It needs a comeback though. No offense, though, still a banger. Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of precarious using splice vocals. It's always good. I think splice is really good with if you're kind of like stuck in an idea. Using a splice vocal is not bad for kind of just like moving things forward and kind of like the whole songwriting process. But I think ultimately you want to try and get it as original as possible, because, I mean, at least for me, if I hear a track that uses like a very blatant kind of splice vocal, it kind of turns me off. I don't know what it is. It just does. I'm just like, splice vocal. I was like, dude, such a good tune. It kind of just like sort of ruins it for me. Almost. The reality is I didn't know that this was a splice vocal. But yeah, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it's always better to opt for something a little bit more original. If you can. That's always not always possible, but if you can manage it, I would definitely try and aim for a original vocalist on this. But I digress. I'm gonna get off my soapbox there. The vocal is dope for what you're putting together here. I think it works really well in the space. In the intro, it kind of felt like it was a little bit off time in some sections, almost. But at the same time, it was hard to kind of gauge because it didn't have a drum beat to kind of follow along until maybe about halfway through that intro. But yeah, I think once the drum beat started coming in, it felt like it was kind of leading a little bit. So the vocal was a little bit early in reference to the drum beat. I think it was a little bit early. But I might be wrong. It just felt that way. I did also put here that the vocals are a bit hot in the intro. They are a bit loud in context, because you have a lot of like other really cool sort of like ambiance and background elements. Obviously those should be quieter, but I think the vocal runs pretty hot for the intro. I would consider maybe just bringing it down a touch, but even kind of playing around with some filtering, just some slight filtering to kind of bring in the vocal subtly before you bring it in full force in the drops. The drop is super sick. I love the whole arrangement is actually very nice. Very nice energy. Drop is very nice. Love the sound design. Very nice phrasing and very nice like call response stuff going on. I did put here that I would probably even use the vocal a little more sparingly in the drops, because it almost kind of gets in the way of like this really dope kind of phrasing and motif that you have going on with the bass line. It kind of almost feels like it kind of gets in the way. So I definitely would recommend keeping the vocal in the drop in some capacity, but I would kind of limit the amount of vocal phrasing you got going on, because I instead of using like full long phrases, I would probably opt for just like smaller, shorter chops.
The sky is falling down. Would you hold me now? Never live without you.
You know, even you could even do like a sort of call response thing with the vocal, so you have like wah wah da da na 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 You know what I'm talking about? You feel me? Get the vibes? You can do a little call response with the bass line and the vocal. So you're kind of like, they're not kind of like coinciding and sitting on top of each other. They kind of have their own space and they have their own, time to shine in the arrangement. But I think it's a really dope idea. I love this fucking sound design here. It's fucking fantastic. Nice change up here in the drops. Nice second break and nice change up on the second drop with the techno. I did notice that you like basically have a whole new kick for the techno part of the drop, which definitely works, but I would be careful about using the techno kick on the sort of UK bass section. I think I did hear the techno kick being used underneath those kind of like vowel bass lines. I would definitely keep the techno section and the UK bass section kind of more genre specific. So I wouldn't like use the techno kick in the UK bass section. I wouldn't use the UK bass kick on the techno section. Basically, that's what I'm getting at. Just so that they feel a little bit more cohesive. But I do like the kind of back and forth between the techno into the UK bass. I think it's a very, very well done. Yeah. But all in all, this is a very fucking well done track. Probably the only other thing I would probably mention, this track seems kind of short. Definitely is more along the lines of a radio edit. You can definitely add in like a mix in, mix out for an extended version. But yeah, this is definitely a great radio edit length here. This is perfect. Good job, Longboy. Also, Longboy, I have to reply to your email. I got your email. I definitely have to listen to your tunes for sure. But yeah, honestly, Longboy, I've definitely heard a massive sort of growth in your production, man. Definitely keep it up. I can definitely hear the growth and the progression in your production. Good job. Hell yeah, brother. Nice. Well, happy that I'm helping out, All right. Let's keep moving here. We got Blaze Orange. Blaze Orange in the chat. All right. Let's do it. Nice one, bruv. Yeah, honestly, it does kind of feel faster than 125. Um, but yeah, maybe that's just that's just kind of the vibe we got going on here. Dirty, love that snare. Sounds dirty, love it. Fake blood sounds faster than I remember for some reason. Nice Vox. Yeah, dude, I'm digging the vibes here. Definitely on that tech house vibe, almost like Old Dirty Bird. Really dope intro. Has kind of like this cool kind of lo-fi feel to it. Initially, I was kind of uncertain about the kick, but as like the track goes on and on and on, the kick makes a lot of sense, especially in context with all the other elements going on. Because the kick is huge, but most of the other elements kind of lend itself to having that kind of really big bottom kick. It's kind of boomy, but it definitely feels like it fits the vibe here. Solid intro melody and progression. Overall, it's a very nice lead-in. BBKs. Big boomy kicks. Overall, very solid arrangement here. With one exception, I'm going to talk about a little bit. Very nice energy overall. Very nice like build. And going into the first drop, you have like you kind of start the first drop with a fake out. Typically I advise against that only because usually like your first drop you kind of just want to go straight into things. Because if you're leading in on the first drop with a fake out, you're kind of already throwing off the listener. Obviously, these aren't like hard and fast rules. Like it's not something that you absolutely have to do. Normally, I would opt for putting a fake out on the second drop, but yeah, just definitely something to consider. I do like the drops though. The drops are very nice. Lots of energy, lots of really cool ear candy stuff. I do like the Witch Doctor, the whoop, but I do think the whoop is very loud in the mix. I do think it needs to come down, especially in context with the other elements. It just sounds like it's kind of just like way up here where everything else is kind of like sitting right here. And maybe add in a little bit of reverb on it because it does sound a little bit dry. Yeah. But the very solid groove, and then very nice ear candies, kind of stuff like swimming around. Definitely adds a lot of interest and definitely keeps things kind of moving forward. Let's see, what else do I have here? Really nice ear candy. Riser melody is also a little bit loud. So I think it's like in the second half of the first. So what I would probably do is bring that riser melody down a little bit more, but also make sure that it's being sidechained by your kick, so that it's kind of getting a nice pump. I mean, if it's already sidechained, that's fine. Just do it a little bit more aggressively, so that we're getting a little bit more of a pump out of it. I think that will do very well. I put here, the second break feels like it should be longer because, I mean, just kind of looking at the waveform here, this first drop feels kind of short, and then we're only given maybe about 8 bars to go break and then back into a build. So I would probably increase your break build section, add in a bunch more drama, add in some more tension, just so that when it comes back into the second drop, it's gonna hit even harder, because you're not given that much time to kind of breathe right here. You're kind of just like going from drop, have like a little bit of a 8 bar kind of respite, and then diving right back into things. You could probably even get away with getting rid of a little bit of the outro and maybe a little bit of the intro. The intro seems like it's a little bit long. Maybe only, I mean, you would probably only have to remove maybe like 4 to 8 bars in the intro, maybe 4 to 8 bars. Like I would say 8 bars in the outro, but definitely add more to this second break build. Sup, fool? But yeah, other than that, I think this sounds fucking great. I would say also, I think the second drop, there's another riser here, basically the same note that I have for the first drop. Yeah, just make sure that you're sidechaining that a little bit more aggressively. Maybe add in a touch more reverb. Yeah, it's a touch loud, and maybe some more sidechain. I think that's the move. But overall, this is a very dope tune. Digging all the sound selection, sound design, ear candy stuff. It's all really, really well done. Good job, Blaze Orange. Hell yeah, brother. How do we submit? Right here in the chat. 1, 2, and 3. Bing bong. All right. Do we have Neb? This is a fucking dope picture here. Fucking R2D2. Do we have Neb in the chat? Oh, we do have Neb. Well, well, well. With some jump up. This is only 1 minute and 16 seconds, so I'm assuming this is a whip right now. It's probably like just intro drop and maybe just like a second break or something. But yeah, let's give it a listen. Nice. I love the addition of the R2D2 screams. Honestly, it's fucking great. I almost would want to have that kind of pop up more, but I think it's kind of good that it's kind of used pretty sparingly, because I think that could probably get very tacky very quickly. So yeah, I think it's kind of used very well. It's used very tastefully. It's the best way I could put it. Nice drums here. I put here that I would filter the kicks a little bit more in the build section, especially kind of like in this empty sort of section right before the build. Yeah, it kind of just feels like the kick is just overpowering because there's not really a whole lot else going on. So yeah, just something to consider. Make it a little bit more toned down in that break build section. I love the build up though. The build up's very nice energy there, and definitely the R2D2 scream is a nice touch. The drop is dope, although the one thing I would note about the drop is that I would like to have more consistency in the bassline melody, because it feels like the bassline melody is kind of going all over the place, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of consistency. So essentially, what I'm getting at is I would like it to be a little bit more. Normally, I don't say this, but I would like it to be a little bit more repetitive, just so that it kind of sticks in the listener's mind. Having just like a very solid melodic motif, you can always switch it up every 8 bars, but I think kind of keeping some sort of consistency, some kind of main line that you can kind of sink your teeth into, and kind of it'll basically drag you along through the whole drop, basically through the whole track. If you have just like a solid melody that you can kind of stick with, I think that's essentially what's going to make this track even better, because I do like the sound design here. I like the sound design, I like the sub, I like the drums, but what we need primarily is just like a very solid, consistent melodic hook, is essentially what I'm getting at. Once you have that sorted, I think basically the rest of the song is going to write itself, honestly, because you have a lot of like very strong ideas here, and you have like kind of like the startings of an arrangement. Obviously, you just have the first drop, and you know you're starting to go into a second break. But yeah, I think the main thing here, the main piece of feedback that I have, is that we need a stronger melodic hook, something a little bit more consistent. I say repetitive. Yes, we do need a little bit more repetition here. But overall, dope idea. I love the R2D2 screams. I love the sound design. Good job, Nebula Beasts. Dope tune. Dope start to a tune. Keep doing what you're doing, though. You're already heading in a good direction. Yeah, no problem. All right, do we have the men's crossfades? Young Gus. Young Gus. Oh. Excusez-moi. Yo. All right. Young Gus is here. Let me load up a couple more tunes here from the Google form, and then I'll name out the queue. And just FYI, guys, if you want to skip the queue, you guys are more than welcome to. You can use your channel points or send monies to the bottom left there. The amount is entirely up to you. But yeah, I don't see a very long line here though, but we'll find out in a minute. Isaac, your link is broken. Just FYI, if you want to resubmit, go ahead. But your link is broken. Okay. We got Crossfades up next. We got Neziel up after that. Sky Nova, Kuro, Yoriarte, Swell Times, Demerlo, Actisa, Bray, and then Isaac. You need to resubmit your link. Curse of Tongues. I don't know if Curse of Tongues is here, but he submitted a tune. All right, Young Gus, let's go. Nice. Obviously, this is just a whip. We just got like an intro, a break build, and a drop. But so far, it's sounding fantastic. Per usual, loving the drums. Kick is very nice. Very solid groove. Loving this kind of like tom um, sub thing you got going on. Feels very, very dirty birdie here. Um, very sick drop. Loving the groove and ear candy and layers. You've definitely gotten a lot better at that, at kind of adding in variation and layers. Because I know that's something that you initially struggled with was a lot of repetition, but I can see that you've, come a long way in kind of breaking up that. I do like this yo vocal. It's very minimal. But I'm like aching for something a little bit more substantial. I think the yo vocal is cool, maybe as like a secondary supporting vocal, but I think we need something a little bit more with more substance, something that's kind of going to stand out more. And I think that'll kind of help you also write the rest of this track. If you have like a very solid vocal hook, again, like I don't think it's a bad vocal. You could definitely use it for sure in this track, but I would opt for something a little bit more substantial. If you can use your own vocal, I definitely recommend using your own vocal. It makes it more unique. But I think like, all the sound design stuff, all the groove is very solid. The arrangement what you have here so far sounds great. Very nice layers. The mix down sounds clean as it is right now. Yeah, that's probably the only thing I would recommend is just try and find a more substantial vocal, and I think that'll help you basically write the rest of this track. It'll kind of basically just write itself, honestly. But yeah, this is a very strong start. I think it's a very strong foundation, for sure. Good job, young Gus. Yo. All right, the man's Neziel. We got the man's Neziel in the chat. Bo, 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 bo. Yeah, no prob. Neziel, Neziel, Neziel. Whoa. Damn, do you guys hear fireworks? Dip for snack time. We got Neziel in the chat. He was here a minute ago. Yeah, no problem, man. Neziel going once. Neziel going twice. Alright, I guess Neziel's not here. We got Sky Nova. Yeah, I think he just got busy for the moment. If he comes back, I'll throw him back in the queue. We got Sky Nova. Sky Nova's here. All right. Let's get into it. Looks like Sky Nova. Looks like your link. I tried to refresh it and it didn't work for whatever reason. Can you try resubmitting your tune? I can grab it real quick. Okay. In the meantime, let me grab this other tunes here. We got Isaac. There we go. Got your tune, Isaac. And Hooligan. Hooligan. Tuned. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna go pee real quick. BRB 1 second. Okay, let's try it again. Do. Some dubstep. Okay, that works. Let's dive in. Hell yeah. Dude, this is fucking dope. I I don't even know how to give feedback on something like this. I don't really listen to a whole lot of music like this, but I think this is really fucking well produced. Sound design, sound selection, the all the chopping that you're doing is fucking fantastic. Everything sounds very clean, very precise. The mix down sounds very clean. We're getting basically the full range, full spectrum here, without there being any sort of muddiness or like, you know, stepping on toes, dude. Loving the intro. Almost feels like an anime or a video game. Lots of really cool sound selection. You do a good job of like filtering stuff out, you know, tastefully adding in reverb to kind of bring stuff in. Really nice energy in the build-ups. Really solid arrangement overall. I wasn't in the least bit bored in this track at all. There's so much like repetition, or there's so much like variation going on that it definitely keeps the listener kind of engaged and interested. Lots of really cool ear candy that kind of break things up as well. Very energetic drop, very speedy, lots of really cool motifs. I like this kind of like little 8-bit interlude that you got going on here. It was like very unexpected, but it was very nice. It kind of was a nice break before we going back into all the other craziness. And it just goes fucking crazy again. Yeah, very sick. I think my favorite part of the whole track was just the second break. Funny enough, like even though the drops were fucking crazy, the second break was very nice because all these like this really nice subline and it's like all the pitch bending in between. Yeah, that little pitch bend is so sick. Nice little portamento there. Honestly, I have no notes. I legitimately have no notes on this. It sounds fantastic. The production is like fucking fantastic. The sound design, sound selection is very well done. All the chopping is very, very clean. Mix overall is very clean. Arrangement's very solid. Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. I think this is good to go. You can definitely start sending this labels or even work on self-release. But yeah, this I don't think you need to do anything else with this track. Very well done, Sky Nova. Super sick tune here. Hell yeah. All right, do we got Furo? Am I pronouncing that correctly, by the way? Furo. Whoop. Ayo. Say boom, boom, boom. Everybody say ayo. Way ho. Okay. Where am I in the queue? Peanut Butters. Peanut Butters. Where are you in the queue? That is a good question. All right, I'm gonna go through and rename everybody so you guys know where you're at. You got Furo up next. Yoriarte, Swell Times, Demerlo, Actisa, Isaac, Bray, Hooligan, and then Curse of Tongues and Nezio. But I don't know where these guys are. But yeah, that's where you guys are in the queue. And if you guys would like to skip the queue, you guys are more than welcome to. You guys can use your channel points or send monies to the bottom left of the screen there. Entirely up to you. All right, let's go through. Let's listen to this tune here.
minimum 3 more O's. Got no time, you're talking loads. 3 gal, but I stay composed. Met in the green room after the show, and I didn't fall back, ain't so close. When a man walked in, so we need you, bro. Just leave me alone. Me and my 1010 party, 4 of my tracks got played. Between rounds of Pack and Drake. So a man wishes I'm on his phone like, whoa, you standing in front of him, mate. Get paid for a little appearance, just show my face. Might bless the stage. Spike quick 16 and we love skate. Leave me alone. I stay composed. Leave me alone. Want a minimum 3 more O's. Got no time, you're talking loads. 3 gal, but I stay composed. Met in the green room after the show, and I didn't fall back, ain't so close. When a man walked in, so we need you, bro. Just leave me alone. Me and I stay composed. I stay composed. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Nice one, bruv. All right. Let's see what the chat has to say first. Nice vibe. I want the kick to punch more, though. Yeah, I agree. I agree on the kick. I think the kick is actually a nice sample in itself. It might be just a matter of using a transient shaper to kind of just give it a little bit more punch. I think that the kick itself is a little bit long, but I think if you use a transient shaper, you can kind of get a little bit more punch in the front end on the transient, and then kind of just like tail it off a little bit quicker. Yeah, definitely something to consider. Kilohertz has a really nice transient shaper. If you're familiar with the Kilohertz VST bundles, definitely go check that out. But yeah, definitely something to consider there. Honestly, the very first note I put here is there's a little click. It's something that I always notice. Then I realized that the click is intentional. You have a clock ticking, which actually it's not a bad thing that you have it in there. I think what I would probably do is I would keep the clock tick just in the break sections. It's kind of like a ambient sort of sound, but I would kind of remove it from the intro the intro section. So keep it in the break, both the first break and the second break, but I would remove it from the intro and any of the drops, only because it does get a little bit distracting because it's more of like a high-end element. And it kind of takes the attention away from kind of like the meat and potatoes of the track. Same thing goes with the lasers. I'm actually not... I don't have the same issue with the lasers as much as the clock ticking. I think it's good to have those lasers in there as kind of like a nice little ear candy and accent. But I do think those lasers do get a little bit loud, so I'd probably just bring them down in the mix a little bit more. Really nice kick. Just kind of work on the transient shaping there. Loving the clap. The clap is very nice. In the break sections, I would probably pull out a little bit more of the sub with just some subtle filtering. You can kind of tell from this waveform that we have like a full-on sausage here. So dynamically speaking here, from our break section going into our drop, we kind of want to have a little bit more of a contrast. So I think if you can kind of filter out a little bit more of the low end in your break sections, I think it'll have the drop hit even harder. And sort of just visually, it's kind of difficult to tell the arrangement from this waveform, but I know that after just listening to it, I kind of know where the sections are. This right here being kind of like the first break build into the first drop. And then I think the second break is right around here. If you can kind of use an auto filter to kind of basically do a high pass, or if you want to call it a low cut, high pass, basically tomato. I think that'll definitely work really well in the break sections right before the drops. Really nice drop. I'm liking the sound design you got going on here. Very nice motifs with the mid bass. And also some nice variations. There's definitely some change up so it doesn't get too repetitive. Again, I put here the clock ticking is cool, but I would definitely keep it just to the break sections as opposed to putting it in the drop sections. Oh, nice. You guys are throwing in some nice recommendations. Hell yeah. I do like the vocal as well. I think the vocal definitely fits the vibe here pretty well. I might add in a little bit more saturation to the vocal just to give it a little bit more presence, as well as a touch more reverb just to give it a little bit more space. And then I really love this breakbeat pattern that you got going on at the very end. The only shame is that it's at the very end of the track. Honestly, I think that breakbeat pattern is very sick. You could probably utilize that a little bit more, both in the break sections as well as in the drop, either in the transitional areas going from the end of the drop into the next break, or you can use those break beats kind of like a fake drop almost in the in-between sections. But yeah, I would highly recommend using that breakbeat pattern a little bit more in the actual, main body of this track. Just because it's just cool. Like, I fucking love breakbeats. And it'll also add in some nice variations in here. So either use it in the break sections, which I definitely do a lot of my tracks. I use a lot of breakbeats in the break sections, or you can kind of use it in the actual drops. As kind of like a filler, but definitely play around with that. I think that's a really cool idea. Yeah, lots of cool stuff in here. Just some minor notes, really. Some mixing stuff. And some arrangement stuff. Yeah, good job, Furo. Dope tune. Definitely good for only producing for 1 year. I remember when I was after producing for 1 year, I was not making things this great, honestly. So definitely a good job. Hell yeah. All right. Do we have DeMerlo? DeMerlo uses skip, so that's why he is up next. Yeah, no problem, man. right here. Nice one, bruv. Super sick. Classic DeMurlo style. Very thick, low end. Very energetic. Huge intro. Very dope Reese. Very classic DeMurlo. Loving the vocal. Very nice energy in the build. Overall, very solid sound selection and sound design. Very sick drop. Very solid sidechain. I think you do a really good job of keeping the mix clean, even though it feels like there's like this really big, mid bass and subline. I think you do a good job of kind of keeping things like nice and tight. Oh, nice. Very nice call response and motif phrasing. I think you did that very well. Sick break beats over here in the second break. Very well done. I did put here, this is probably my only note, but I don't even know if this is something that you would need to change. Because to me, it sounds like it's kind of more an artistic and mixing choice as opposed to being anything particularly wrong with it. I think the vocal does get a bit lost at sometimes. And again, it sounds like that's kind of more of a mixing choice as opposed to it being an artistic choice, I guess, or maybe it's both. But I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, because you could make the vocal kind of stand out more pretty easily if you use a dynamic EQ or something like a track spacer. But to me, it sounds like you kind of, it sounds like you made an intentional choice to make the mid bass kind of more the front and center star, and like the vocals kind of more a supporting role, which isn't a wrong or bad thing to do, honestly. Again, I think that's more of a artistic and mixing choice as opposed to it being right or wrong, honestly. You could, if you wanted to, make the vocal more present, but I don't think you necessarily have to. It's definitely a choice. But if you wanted to, you could definitely use a track spacer and kind of have the vocal be a little bit more present. Yeah, and overall, I think the arrangement's super solid. I like the fake out in the second drop. There's lots of nice variations here. There he is. There's Nezio. I skipped you. We can bring you back though. But yeah, overall, I don't think you necessarily need to change anything. It's basically just if you would want to change it. Yeah, if you want to make the vocal more present, definitely look into a track spacer, or you can use a Pro Q3, or it looks like you have an alternative plug data plug-in. Yes, I would definitely look into that if you wanted to change anything. Make the vocal a little bit more present, but yeah, other than that, I think everything here sounds very, very fucking clean, very thick, nice variations. Very well done, DeMerlo. Hell yeah. All right, young Nezio. Let's get to it.
Show me what you pay. Teach me every single part. I'll be your guide. You are a prisoner, looking for to be. You can't change your face, but can change your mind. No matter what you do, 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 no matter what you do.
yeah, brother. What a fucking vibey tune. Yeah, I just went back to the pre-drop sections. I was just listening for something. But yeah, very dope tune here. Very classic Nezio. Very nice groove. Very nice low end. Nice intro. Loving the hats here. Hats are very crispy. Loving the energy and the build. I like this vocal you got going on here. It's kind of more monotone. Almost, I would even venture to say a little bit robotic, but I think it adds to the kind of theme and vibe you're going for here. Very dark, very moody, you know? Oh, you're gonna change the vocal out. Okay. It is a cool, I think it is a cool vocal though. But if you're gonna opt for something else, I think, you know, anything would work really well with this beat. I was gonna say here, I would add more silence in the pre-drop. I think you did a very good job over here on this third drop, but I think this first pre-drop kind of feels like it kind of rolls in a little bit, kind of rolls in from the build into the drop. So there's not really much of a contrast. It doesn't feel like it dives off, you know? So I would probably pull out a little bit more elements right before that first pre-drop. Whoops. Sorry. Yeah, I think the third pre-drop does it the best. But yeah, I would try and, you know, kind of eliminate a little bit more elements from the pre-drop just so that the drop hits harder. No matter what you do. The vocal is really cool though. I like that it's kind of repetitive and hooky. And then it has a nice like filter on it, so it doesn't get too repetitive. The drop is fire. Love the groove. Love the layers. Definitely a vibey tune. Feels like Confession. I'm loving the second breakdown here. Yeah, this one over here. It definitely gets a lot more moody and kind of more open, but it definitely has that nice kick still underneath. That's kind of filtered, so it definitely keeps some momentum going. But we have this nice change of melody, more open, more moody, bigger. It's very nice. What else did I put here? Loving the second break, loving the ear candy, and then we get kind of more of a toned down third drop. Definitely Sunset vibes. I get that for sure. Yeah, the main thing for me, I guess, is just make sure that there's more silence in the pre-drop so that the drop is more impactful. I think that's really the main thing. I think everything else sounds great. Arrangements are very solid. Sound selection's very solid. Yeah, and if you end up changing out the vocal, with the coconut on the beach with some bitch. Yeah, I think that's just something to consider. Make sure that you keep that nice contrast between the build and your drop section. But overall, dope tune. Good job, Nezio. Hell yeah, brother. All right, we're cutting through these tunes here. We got Yoriarte. Yoriarte, Swell Times, Actisa, Isaac, and then Bray. No problem, man. Yoriarte. Is that you? Carry music? Yes, sir.
listen up. We came to move, to feel the groove, to shake the ground. No fake energy, no holding back. This is for the real ones, to shake the ground, to shake the ground, to shake the ground, to shake the ground. Right here, right now. This is when it happens. This is when it happens. You feel it? Yeah, we don't stop. Groove, energy, a type dirty bass. Let's get it. That's right. Right here, right now. This is Alright, listen up. We came to move, to feel the groove, to shake the ground. No fake energy, no holding back. This is for the real ones, to shake the ground, to shake the ground, to shake the ground, to shake the ground. Right here, right now. This is when it happens.
Hell yeah. Yeah, this is sick. Loving the energy here and the sound design. It's really, really dope. Really nice low end, really nice kick. Yeah, reminds me of something like Spacewalk. Maybe a little bit. Maybe like older Spacewalk, because like newer Spacewalk, the homie Luke, he's definitely gone into like this more minimal zone, but it definitely sounds like him. He still has this signature low end that he still uses. Very nice kick. The vocal is cool, but I think the vocal mix wise, I think it's a little bit loud, and there's some harshness on the top end. So that's something you can kind of manage a little bit. I don't know what kind of processing you have on the vocal. Maybe kind of like dial in whatever saturation you have on it, or you can use a Soothe 2 and kind of clean up a little bit of the top end there. But yeah, the vocal has a little bit of harshness, and it's more apparent in the break section than it is in the drops. I'm loving the arrangements here. It's very solid. I'm gonna dive into a little bit of something on the first drop though, but I do love the energy here overall, in the builds, in the breaks, and the drops, for sure. I think that sounds fucking fantastic. Very nice call response on your drop sections, on the mid bass. I put here, I would normally not put a fake drop on the first drop. I think it's actually probably more suited on the second drop, which you already did, but I would just dive right in on the first drop, and not do the fake drop on the first drop. Just FYI, but obviously it's your tune. Do as you please, but I do think the drop is very sick. I think the drop itself is very dope. Also, I would probably not put this little break here. Kind of have 8 bars and then an 8-bar break and then another 8-bar drop section. What I would probably do, I don't think it's a bad idea to have that break, but I think what I would probably do is I would let the first drop kind of ride out for another 8 bars before I go into another drop or break section. Only because it's so quick, you don't give the listener enough time to kind of like dance around and groove. So I would let them sit in the groove for another 8 bars before diving into that break.
This is when it happens. You feel it? Yeah, without stop.
Yeah, I would, again, sick, cool idea. I would just let the drop ride out for at least another 8 bars if you want to keep that break section there. Or remove it. I mean, either or. You can either remove the break section or add in another 8 bars before you go into the break section. But I do like the change up right here, going from A section of the drop to the B section. It's really cool. Really nice break over here. I'm loving all the energy here going into the build and into the second drop. And I love the change up on the second drop. Second drop, change up is very nice. Yeah, really just some minor tweaks. I think the vocal just needs a little bit of cleanup on the top end, and maybe just this first drop just needs a little bit of tweaking just to kind of keep it a little bit more cohesive, so it kind of flows a little bit better. But overall, very sick sound design, lots of energy, very crazy here, but it's sick. Good job, Yoriarte. Hell yeah. All right, do we have swell times? Swell times in the chat. Yeah, no problem, man. Bo, 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 bo. Ugh. It's definitely starting to feel like summer. All right, do we have swell times? Swell times going once. Going twice. All right. Swell Times is not here. Actisa. Actisa, are you here? Actisa, Isaac, Bray, Hooligan. Actisa is here. Let's do it. Nice, dude. Fucking sick. I'm loving the sound design here. And that low end goes fucking crazy. Vocal is very nice too. The vocal basically drives this whole track. I'm loving what you're having here so far. Obviously, this is just a whip. You just got like an intro, build, and first drop. I think it's really cool. Loving the sound selection, loving the sound design. The intro is kind of like spooky almost and moody. Very nice filtering. You do a good job of introducing all the elements, including the vocal. Solid sound selection. Loving the energy and tension in the build. Loving the drop. I think the drop is super sick. And the low end is very nice. I like the snare, but I think it needs a little bit more power to it. The snare definitely lends itself to kind of cutting through the mix, is what you want for this kind of style. And the reality is, it sounds like you already kind of have an idea of where you want to go with this. But what I would love to hear is some drum and bass from this. I feel like it kind of lends itself to that too. This almost sounds like it would be a good kind of second drop almost. It feels like the first drop should be like some standard like drum and bass. And then this could be like kind of like a nice little second drop. Fake out or something. I don't know. That's just an idea. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I think having some sort of drum and bass kind of vibe in here, I think would be fucking dope. But overall, loving what I'm hearing so far. It's a very strong idea, very strong vocal. Yeah, second drop is still missing. But yeah, I think you're already headed in a really nice direction. I think the mix down is very clean so far. So good job, Actisa. Hell yeah. All right, Isaac is up next. I'm gonna go pee real quick again. BRB. Ugh. We got Isaac. Isaac is here. For sure. Isaac, you still here? Nah. Yes, sir. All right.
Everybody wants to go to
just want to feel the bass. I just want to feel the bass.
Mírame, acércate. Acércate. Mírame, acércate. Acércate.
Nice. Really dope job on the sound selection and sound design. Loving the kick and sub groove here. It's almost like hypnotic. It kind of just like draws you in, and it kind of just like makes you want to just like bob your head. I think this kick sub groove is very well done. I love the kind of like hat stutter you got going on too. It's really cool. Really cool vocal, the Spanish vocal that you have in here. I think it's a really nice kind of complement to the other kind of main English vocal. I do have some notes on that though. I put here the subline is very hypnotic. I really dig that. Drop sections are dope. However, I think you need some more ear candy going on, because with just the kick sub and those horns are a good addition in the drops. I think it does add in some nice variation and kind of breaks up a little bit of the repetition. But besides the horns, I would like to hear some other kind of nice ear candy sounds to kind of complement. Because basically it's the vocal and the horns kind of doing most of the legwork. And I think we need a little bit more going on to kind of just add in some nice variation, some nice layers to go in there, just so it doesn't get too repetitive. I put here, I love the feel the bass female vocal. However, I do think since it's kind of like primarily your hook and kind of like the main idea, it's obviously the name of the track, I think it needs to be introduced sooner. So I would probably use that female vocal both in your second break as well as your first break. Instead of having the Spanish vocal in the first break, definitely keep the Spanish vocal in the drop sections. I think it works really well there. But I would introduce that female vocal sooner in the introduction as well as in the first break, leading up to the first drop. Definitely that. And then additionally, try and get some other ear candy sounds both in your first drop and second drop. You just started this Saturday night. Dude, well, this is pretty, pretty great progress for just starting this a couple days ago. So yeah, already very well done so far. I think you're already heading in a really great direction though. This is a very strong idea, strong foundation for a track. All you need is some like minor tweaks and maybe add in some other, elements in there, and I think it's going to be an even better track. Good job, Isaac. Hell yeah. Yeah, no problem. All right, we got Bray. I think this is going to be the last one. Peanut Butters. Peanut Butters. I don't know if Hooligan, Cursive Tongues, or Swell Times are here. You can definitely still get your tune in if you guys are here in the chat, but if not, we're going to call it quits. Peanut Butters, are you still here? Peanut Butters. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. Peanut Butters. Alright, we're going to listen to this track anyways. If he ends up showing up, then he'll get his feedback.
She tell me she wanna pull up. I don't even know if I know her. But they be watching all of my moves. Gotta hit them with different maneuvers. I'm hitting your physical new verse. I might hit this war talking universe. verse. She said she hung up, and now she don't know. I switch a different flow on this bitch, I'm bipolar. Sipping so slow and the cup is not cold. You looking so bad, I might hit your mama. If she wanna tweak it, I'm dropping that drama. Fuck her that problems, I want me to go out. My brothers, I'm gone, I'ma send one more. My brothers, I'm good, they gon' kick out the door. Can't wait till I'm on, I'ma keep you apart. I'ma hit if you find some little mama, she mine. She tell me she wanna pull up. I don't even know if I know her. They be watching all of my moves. Gotta hit them with different maneuvers. I'm hitting every single new verse. I might hit this world talking universe. She said she hung up, but now she don't know. She always be switching like she is bipolar. I always be switching like could you not? Like a hater way that you go flip and flop. Just like my money, I'm taking it to the top. Talking about money, we turn it up. Talking about money, we turn it up a notch. You know how I do, how I like my guap. You know how I do, how I like my guap. If you talking about money, then hit me up. She tell me she wanna pull up. I don't even know if I know her. They be watching all of my moves. Gotta hit them with different maneuvers. I'm hitting every single new verse. I might hit this world talking universe. She said she hung up, and now she don't know. I switch a different flow on this bitch, I'm bipolar. She tell me she wanna pull up. I don't even know if I know her. They be watching all of my moves. Gotta hit them with different maneuvers. I'm hitting every single new verse. I might hit this world talking universe. She said she hung up, but now she don't know. She always be switching like she is bipolar. Sipping so slow and the cup is not cola. You looking so bad, I might hit your mama. If she wanna tweak it, I'm dropping that drama. Fuck her that problems, I want me to go. Talking about money, we turn it up a notch. You know how I do, how I like my guap. You know how I do, how I like my guap. You with that bullshit and don't hit me up.
Nice, dude. What a great way to end the stream. This is a really well produced track. Lyrically and just like songwriting wise, I think it's just a really well written track. Instrumentation is all very nice. Drums are very nice. Arrangement's very solid. Lyrical structure is very solid. It's very easy to follow. It definitely gets kind of stuck in your head. So good job on that. Lots of hooks here. Melodically, everything works really well. The vocal sits in the pocket very well as well. And the mix down super clean. Honestly, I really have no notes for this tune. Looks like you already released this, which is totally fine. But honestly, I don't think you have to change anything in this track. I think it's very well done, very well written, start to finish. This was a nice listen. I wish I had notes for you, but I don't. Well, this is recorded too, so if you want to listen back, all good. But yeah, all I had to say was all good things. I don't think you need to change anything about this track. I think it's very well done. But yeah, this is recorded on Twitch, and it's also recorded on YouTube. FY Yizzle. With that is the last tune of the night. Very good job. Bray, Peanut Butters. My YouTube is Phantom Freak 4025. But yeah, thanks to everybody who joined the stream today. Thanks for setting in your tunes. Lots of heat today. Hope you guys. I'll be back next Monday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Pacific time here on Twitch. Follow me on all the things. Join the Discord. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. If you guys are in Vegas this weekend, come check us out. We all scream. Yeah, and if not, I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace.